problem, what is the scope of the problem that must be solved? Then that's where we come into the remedy. Now, whenever remedy selection comes along, EPA will have public hearings to say, okay, here's what our findings are, here are what we propose might be needed to address these findings, and then they will ask for community input. And that's the point at which you would have that input.
Okay, and the reason I'm raising this, I've been involved in a lot of Superfund cleanups. By the time the agency is selecting the remedy, it's generally too late to be involved in the decision about what the standards are, the ARARs, because those are usually identified earlier than the remedy selection. And the first criteria for remedy selection is it has to meet all the ARARs and it has to protect public health. There are like 9 criteria that EPA considers. But the reason, it's important to keep your eye on those ARARs. It's applicable. It is not just applicable or relevant and appropriate. So even standards that don't necessarily directly apply are applied by EPA if they are deemed relevant and appropriate. So if it's not too late, you want to be part of that discussion of what standards are going to apply here, because that's something that is determined on a site-by-site basis. So, at various places, and it's often negotiated, and often the public is not aware of those negotiations or a party to those negotiations.
Well, but that's one of the reasons we're having this meeting tonight, to see if we can set up that kind of a dialogue and put that kind of investment with agencies like yours, that we want to get on the ground floor early. We want to be a part of the solution.
Why some of the companies that this suit against is not independent themselves?
Well, we didn't call this meeting to defend. What we're trying to do in this meeting is to get our questions answered so that we can be a part of the process.
Well, if that was the case, we should have a community meeting instead of DEQ get together first. The community need to talk about it, but some people not educated to know what kind of questions to ask.
Absolutely, sir. That's a good point. And what raised the question of cost to me was that this has been going on for years. And this community is suffering the consequences. And everybody's just going around in circles and circles. You guys go to a nice, clean environment, but we stay here. And this has been going on for years and years. This is only a routine meeting that we have been coming to for years. And we are victims of this survey. We are victims of all of this that you guys are experimenting on. And we are the lab rats, in other words.
If I may interject, I've been hearing the question that have been asked. This gentleman was asking about the cost. This lady was asking about the cancer survey, etc. And the response is, well, we have no knowledge of this. I'm not a toxicologist. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Finally, then what? See, now we get off to the point of, like it was just stated, that we have questions that needs to be answered, and you're not prepared to answer them. Why not bring a toxicologist? Why not, if they send someone to, if you're not a toxicologist, you need to have one on your, at your right-hand side. Not trying to make no waves or anything, but this is what it's supposed to be, a conference, right?
Well, certainly we do have one working on this project. We have excellent ones. The EPA is here. It's just not usual that questions of that nature come up at a community meeting. So before I brought her, I would need to have knowledge of it.
Just let's wait till they get together.
That's right, it's good to hear.
There's quite a few documents on file, and again, just from the standpoint of trying to get up to speed with it, it does take a little bit of time. last time I was here, there were some good questions that were asked that fall in line with some of the things you all are asking that has not been asked before. There's a couple that I at least want to address what I've seen on file. As I mentioned, there's a lot of documents on file since 1980 moving forward.
Mr. Schuler, I don't want to stop you, but I don't want to leave this great point. And the great point was that he does have a toxicologist on staff. And he would be willing to bring that person to this meeting if that was applicable.
I did a fact sheet.
You just tell us how long it takes. Just tell us how long will that take for us, for you to get that information, to bring somebody to this meeting who could answer that question for us.
Okay, or actually I could probably get her to put a fact sheet together on PCBs. We have some available for the ATSBR and distribute them.
Well, in the Tier 2 work plan, there's discussion of standards, isn't there?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're just talking about PCB risk and stuff. I don't know what cancers are specific to it and other things like that. Now, I hate to speak about something that I'm not sure of because, you know, that's just not appropriate.
Let me respond again from a question that was asked last time about the history of the site.
Okay, and I will, but I just want to get an end to that question so that you can be clear on what's going to happen with that. Are you clear, sir?
Excuse me?
Did he make that clear to you?
Concerning what?
About the toxicology.
No, I'm not clear.
Okay.
No, I'm not clear. The only thing I want to know is, if we come and we gather, when we gather here several times, for years, you understand? Now, you should already know if we're still coming, there's going to be some questions and answers, there's going to be some specialists, you know, that can answer these questions. Toxicologists. This and that. Now, you people, you're doing a great job, but I'm not going to take nothing from you. But you're doing a greater job that would be in your best interest to bring something. It's like if you go to court. You know what I mean? What they do, they say, well, look, we got a handwriting analysis, and they're going to tell you, you know, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It ain't no big deal.
Let me back up to a question.
Let me just yield it, give it a little back to Mr. Schuler.
Let me, again, from the standpoint, what I'm hearing in the 6 months I've been involved is, what is the history? What is our exposure? You know, all we're hearing is that we're continuing to study and study and study things like that. There is a history of, you know, contaminants being discharged into the Devil's Slump. One of the questions asked me was, why is there a fishy business advisory? What are the constituents of concern and what are the levels? That's on file with the DEQ documents. The US FDA has set a tolerance of 2 parts per million in PCBs in edible portions of fish. If you go online and look at you can look at some of the past studies, analysis, and you'll see some of the fish samples have exceeded